Hello, folks. Welcome back for this week's session. And every session, I'm learning new things like how to adjust the video and all. Hopefully, it's getting better. So I will be sharing two screens. So there'll be a bit of a flip when I do that, when I go from one screen to another. And like I mentioned last time, that this screen is on the other monitor, so I'll be looking at that side. Now we went over the first shloka, and it took us a while to go through this for good reasons, because there is a lot of details that one needs to be aware of so that can appreciate more what is happening on this battlefield of Kurukshetra. And I had said that we will look at the genealogy tree so that we would be able to understand the shlokas, the verses that come after that. Hopefully the next 4 or 5 shlokas we will be going through relatively fast. And I had said that one of the authoritative commentaries on Bhagwad Gita is by Adi Shankaracharya, and his commentary, really, he doesn't even comment on this entire first chapter. He starts his commentary on the 11th verse of the second chapter. But nevertheless, this is an important chapter for us, and that is why we are going through it. So we went in detail through the first shloka, which was Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsuva Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. So we will not get into this because we went into this at great length in our last session. So the following slides that are there, the following slide that I will go through is walking us through. We wanted to do a quick walk because we again went through this in a lot of detail when we did our part in our details of the Mahabharata. We covered Mahabharata in just 3 or 4 sessions. I said that it is a huge, humongous text, and we are cutting it down short to just lay the relevance or the context for us to the point where we can give some meaning, relative meaning to where the Bhagavad Gita starts. And what I have done is I have taken a subset of the Kuru tree and only brought forth those that will be of interest to us. And I will quickly walk through this. So we have got, I've chopped down the earlier part of the tree. Those that are interested, you know that we have got Mahabharata 1 and 2. Maybe there you can go and take a look at these things. But let's start in this case with Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra's wife is Gandhari, and then they have got their eldest son is Duryodhana, and the Duryodhana and his brother Dushasana is kind of 2 names that are prominent in the entire Mahabharata, and they occur here and there in the Bhagavad Gita too. Here too, they are not occurring that frequently, but they are there in the background. And then there are 100 Kauravas, so some of the names do appear here and there. This sister, their sister Dushala, which we are not going to encounter her, but actually Dushala's husband, his name is he plays a pivotal role later on. His name is Jayadratha, and it is a very interesting story. And after we have finished with Bhagavad Gita, whenever that happens, it is going to take a long time. I am thinking of explaining that story of Jayadratha, but for now, let's not talk about it. So what I have done is I have color coded this. So the 2 armies that are there are several characters, and the next 6 or 7 verses are going to mention a lot of these, and then we don't want to get that lost. There are some names that I have not. There are so many names that even in this chart that I have, some names are not captured. But this is a chart in which I have done this color coding. The red are where the Kauravas are there. Those are from the Kaurava army, and the green are from the Pandava army. So you can see what a strange mix that it is, that Bhishmacharya, who is kind of the epitome of righteousness, and he's fighting on the side of the Kauravas. That's the what Mahabharata does, or what Mahabharata brings to the table, that any other epics and any other works do not bring, is this complexity that is in life, where things are not black and white. Very rarely they are black and white. Most of the time normal people deal with gray things, and that's why Bhagwad Gita is as important as it is, because it tells us, or it at least goes into why things are gray and how you can deal with it, and we can take some learning, some teaching from that. And then the you can see here Karna, who is actually Kunti's son, but he's in red, so he's actually fighting from the side of the Kauravas. Okay, so let me quickly go through this. So Dhritarashtra, whose wife is Gandhari, he has got Duryodhana, Dushasan, the 10 Kauravas, and then Bhishma, who is the son of Ganga, who has taken this Bhishma Pratijna, which is an oath that says that he will be protecting whoever sits on the throne of Hastinapur. And at this moment, Dhritarashtra is sitting, and because Duryodhana is his heir, Bhishma has to follow his oath, and he has to fight for these guys. And then there are other guys who are not from their tree, but there's Dronacharya and his son Ashwathama. Again, these two fall on the sides of the Kauravas. And a few people that I have not gotten here, one of them is called Kripacharya, who is the family priest, family guru. He's also one of the acharyas. And Shakune is also fighting. I'm not showing him in red because his name is not explicitly mentioned in the Gita, at least in these verses that we are going through. But he should also be in the red. At this specific verse we are going through, he is not there. And then Kunti, who with various different gods has given birth to different sons. So the first son that she got is through the sun god, and he's Karna. And Karna also is falling on the side of the Kauravas. And then there are other gods with whom Kunti has had sons. We know them as Yudhishthira, Bhima, and Arjun. And then Pandu has a second wife, Madari, and her two sons, Nakul and Sahadev. So these are the 5 Pandavas which form the Pandava side of the army. And then there is King Drupad. And King Drupad has, there is some story around how there is animosity between Drupad and Dronacharya. And I have been saying all along, and I will repeat, that you don't take this at face value. These are metaphors, and you have to look behind them and see the meaning that is there. So Drupad actually performs a sacrifice, a yajna, and he wants to obtain a son who will avenge his insult that Drona has done. And so a son is born to him. And then we will see who that son is and who the daughter is. Now, at this moment, we are aware that how much Duryodhana is almost sunk in all debauchery. And we are also aware of the horrendous crime that took place in the Kaurava place when Draupadi was disrobed, or there was an attempt to disrobe her. And she is obviously mad with rage, and she is looking for ablution with Dushasan's blood actually. So there's a lot of this tension that is there. So with that, there's one other thing that I want to tell you, that I have come across another very good site, which we are going to see now, where the verses are. Let me stop sharing and let me share that other site. So we'll go through these verses. Now that you have got some idea of this genealogy tree, let me go and let me stop the share and let me share the other um, um, site that I saw that I think is going to help us a lot. That site is called shloka. So this site, I will put, yeah, like I said, while switching these things, I think it will take a little bit of time for me to see how I can do this more smoothly, but it's not that bad. So I will put down the this link and a couple of other links that I said in the description later on. And so when you come to this particular video, you should be able to take that a link from that slide and go through it. So this site, it's slokam.org. I found this to be pretty good because it has got the Sanskrit verses, and then they have got the English transliteration, and then they have got the English translation. Plus, you know, this is from the Chinmay mission, so there is actually some of Chinmayananda's. I don't want to get into all these different great people that are there who have done a lot of commentaries. And when you listen to a commentary that somebody is saying, you might agree with something they say, you may not. So you take what makes sense to you, and you don't have to follow everything that doesn't make sense to you. So we are going to be going through these slides. We have already gone through the first verse, so let's look at the second verse now. Now, I will when I go through these verses, I had said earlier that I will chant or recite verses from 1 to 11, but at least for today, I'm not doing that because I have recited it in our previous session, and I'm going to see how this session looks like later on when I look at the video, and if necessary, I might, starting next session onwards, recite the first 11 or whatever number of verses. It generally, I find that when we are trying to look at a certain verse, anything, any book for that matter, when there is a gap, it just makes sense to recite a few verses before and a few verses later. It will provide some kind of context. But we have not recited the 11 verses today that I said we will do, which is fine, because what we are going to do today, or what is in this chapter, is a lot of descriptive part. So let's go through it. I want to see how much I can cover today, because since it's being descriptive, and because I have shown you the genealogy tree, I think some of this is going to it will make more sense to you. And if possible, I will try and go back to that genealogy or the family tree slide, and then you will be able to relate to what we went through. Oh, okay, anyhow. So Sanjaya Vacha. So you remember in the first verse, Dhritarashtra had asked Sanjay a question, and now Sanjay is answering. Vacha, as I have been saying, is Sanskrit word where said. So this is a good translation. So Sanjay Vacha is Sanjay said. Drishtva tu Pandavanekam vyudham duryodhanastada acharya mupasangamya raja vachanam abravi. So what if you break up the sandhis here to understand? Sandhis is what happens is I have explained to you before as well. In Sanskrit, when you join words together, the place where they join, they sometimes are not pronounced the way you would if they were separate, and you have to break them apart and then it gives more meaning. So we'll break them just like they have done it over here. So it's they have done it pretty well over here. So Sanjaya Uvacha Drishtva, after seeing Drishtva tu Pandava Nikam Vyudham Duryodhanastada. So what he's saying is, after having seen the Pandava army, so Pandava Nikam Vyudham, if you see what is Vyudham here, it is says arranged in a military phalanx. So it is some kind of a pattern, format. Yes, it's a siege kind of structure that is laid by the army. So here is Duryodhan standing in this battlefield, and he is looking at the Pandava army. And so looking at the army, Drishtva tu Pandavanikam Vyudham Duryodhanastada. Duryodhan, having looked at this Pandava army, Acharya Mupasangamya. Acharya is a teacher. So basically here it's Dronacharya. Upasangamya. What he goes towards the Drona. He goes towards Dronacharya. Raja. Raja is king. So it's referring to Duryodhan. Vachanam abravi. The Vachana is basically he says, abravita, he spoke. So he spoke. Vachana is word in this case. So what it's saying is, Duryodhan, having seen this army, Pandava's army that is across him, this is the army that is they are basically all armed to the teeth, because obviously they are going to get into a battle. And having looked at this army, he approaches his teacher and he says, what does he say after having seen this? Now there is one fine subtle thread that is going in the background, that in this subtle thread there are two things going on. So one is that Duryodhana seems to be a very like confident about his own army, or he's not nervous. And when he looks at the army, he's not taken aback. And for some of the few other next verses, you will realize that. But there is Dhritarashtra who is looking at this, and Dhritarashtra is having a little bit of hope that maybe the Pandavas' sense of righteousness will prevail, and even now maybe the war may not take place. So there is a little bit of hope that he has. So in this case, the Duryodhan looks at the army and says that he walks to the Guru, he goes towards the Guru Dronacharya, and he tells Dronacharya, what does he tell Dronacharya? Let's go to the next verse. He says, Pashyatam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimatam. So he says, Pashyatam, Pashya, behold. So he's telling his teacher Dronacharya, look at this army. What kind of army? Pashyatam Panduputranam. Pandu is the king Pandu. Putranam is the sons of Pandu. So basically he's saying the 5 Pandavas, their army. If you remember when I showed you the tree of the Kuru family tree, you remember there were the 5 Pandavas. And so he's saying, look at this army that of the 5 Pandavas, of the Pandavas army. Acharya Mahatim Chamum. Acharya Mahatim Chamum. Mahatim is great. I'm going to paraphrase this, because if you start breaking them up word by word, you'll lose the continuity. So we are going to paraphrase this. So, Pashaitam Pandaputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum. he tells his the teacher that look at this Pandava army, this great Pandava army that is gathered around. Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimatam. So here he says this army that is across from us is led by the son of Drupad. I'm almost tempted back to go to the family tree here. I hope you guys remember that tree that I was referring to. What Duryodhana is saying is he's telling Drona, look at this army of the Pandavas, which is led by the son of Drupad. And the son of Drupad, his name is Drishtadyumna. So there is a story behind that. Drupad and I mentioned a little while ago, Drupad and Dronacharya, they clash for some reason, and there is and Drupad gets insulted, and then Drupad performs a yajna, a sacrifice, wherein you know this sacrifice thing or this technology is going on those days where sons or kids are being born without any kind of biological relevance, because it has got a spiritual and emotional some degree of mythological context. So in this case, this sacrifice has been, and from that sacrifice emerged a warrior. So Drupada is he performed this sacrifice to give him a son whose only job in his life is to kill Drona, and that son is Drishtadyumna. That's the name he has. So this Drishtadyumna is the son of Drupad, is the one who is leading the Pandavas army. So it's a very interesting standoff. You know, they have picked this fellow whose only purpose in life is to get rid of Drona. He is leading. That's so he is telling him that Duryodhana is telling Drona, look at this army, the Pandava, and this army is led by Drishtadyumna. He's indirectly telling this guy is going to kill you. That's kind of why he was his existence is for that sake. And the story is interesting that Drona, in spite of being aware of this fact, he actually does teach him the art of warfare. And so he is actually his disciple, which is what he's saying. Tava Shishyena, your disciple. Your disciple. So because Drishtadyumna, along with the Kauravas and Pandavas, is Dronacharya's disciple. Dhimatam, very intelligent. He is smart and intelligent. So in this sacrifice, what happens is that there are Drishtadyumna is born, and after some time, a female comes out from that. And that female, her name is Krishna. Don't get confused with Krishna. It's Krishna. And that female actually is Draupadi. It's all convoluted and involved. But so from that yajna has come Drishtadyumna and Draupadi. And then Draupadi is, of course, married to the Pandavas. And then the Pandavas with Draupadi have got kids. And we'll see that in the some of the future verses that are there. So let's go through this shloka again. Pashyatam Pandaputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimatam. Behold, O teacher, this army of the Pandavas, which is led by Drupada, your disciple. That's what he is telling Dronacharya, Duryodhana. Now, one thing that in this earlier, in this shloka, you realize that Duryodhana is referred to as Raja, which is actually kind of technically, strictly speaking, it is not true because he is not the king. But he is referred to here because he is at that moment, he's kind of, he's the one pulling the shots here, if if I were to use that phrase. So he is commanding everything right now. So this Duryodhan has told started off with telling, explaining, or describing to Drona what kind of an army are we facing. The Pandavas, led by Drishtadyumna. His name is not appearing anywhere here, but Drupada Putra is Drishtadyumna. And keep at the back of your mind that Sanjaya is telling this to the blind king who is sitting in the palace. So he is basically, Dhritarashtra is listening to this. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Atra Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yoyodhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharatha. Atra Shura. Here, Atra Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi. Atra is here. Shura is brave. There are warriors here. Maheshwasa. So Maheshwas is the word for Sanskrit is for an arrow is ish. Mahesh is somebody who is good at working or dealing with weapons with a bow and arrow. So they are great archers, great warriors. What kind of warriors are they? They are of the equal of Bhima and Arjuna. Sama Yudhi. Atra Shura Maheshwas. Bhima Arjuna Sama Yudhi. Like Bhima and Arjuna, there are other warriors there that are standing in front of me who are equally powerful, who can wield the bow and arrow with equal dexterous skill that one can boast of an Arjuna or a Bhima. That kind of warriors are there. Yoyodhano Viratascha, Drupadascha Maharatha. Yoyodha is one other warrior. So Yoyodhano Viratascha. Now, Virat, if you remember, the Pandavas were asked to go into 12 years of exile and 1 year of incognito living with Ajñatva. So if they were to be discovered, they would have been expelled back into exile for 13 years. So that 1 year they spent at this King Virata place. So that is the King Virat. So he is also participating in the battle, and he is kind of important because his daughter is married to Arjuna's son. And that tree is kind of going on, and that I don't know if you remember now or not, but when I started this off, there was a big genealogy tree that started at the top of the chart and it ended at the bottom with 6-7 generation. So Arjuna's son, grandson actually, not Arjuna, Abhimanyu's, it is in his court that Mahabharata is being related. Nevertheless, not that important of a detail here. But so Virata is therefore, that is the connection between Virata. So Yuyudhan is one more warrior. Viratascha, Virat king is there. Drupadascha Maharatha. Drupada, the king, Draupadi and Drishtadyumna's father. So all kind of big shots there. He's telling Drona, look at these guys that are there that we have to fight with. He is not afraid or anything. He is just enlisting. These are the people that are there. He is strong and he has got his own reasons why he is confident. Whatever the reasons, he is confident. So let's look at the next one. So this is a lot of names that come up, and we just have taken a subset of that names, the first chart that we saw. So Drishtaketus, so this is Drishtaketusche Kashirajascha Viryavan Purujit Kunti Bhojascha Shaipyascha Narapungavaha. So this is another list of warriors who are taking part in the battle. And when we take the detour that I had been talking about a couple of sessions ago, you will understand that if somebody wants, they can get into these names and understand their significance. We are not going to do that, but it's just another list. Drishtaketu, Chekitana is one more warrior. Kashiraj, Kashiraj is the king of Kashi. They are very, very powerful king. Purujit, Kunti Bhoja, Shaibhya, Narapungava, who is a hero in the human society, Narapungava. Narapungava is anyhow, it's a Sanskrit word that is it is a concatenation of some Sanskrit words which basically mean how brave of a person somebody is, how good of a person somebody is. But not to get into this. This is all these warriors that are there, and the list continues. Yudha Manyuscha Vikrantaha Uttamaujaschcha Viryavan Yudha Manyu. Vikranta is mighty. Uttamaujaschcha Viryavan. Okay, so this is the first line. The second line is kind of important, so that's why I'll take the break here. Yudha Manyuscha Vikrantaha Uttamaujaschcha Viryavan. So another 3 or 4 warriors mentioned here. Now the next line, Saubhadro. So Saubhadra means the son of Subhadra. Like son of Kunti is Kaunteya. So son of Subhadra is Saubhadra. Who Saubhadra, I don't know if you remember, but Subhadra is married to Arjuna, and Arjuna and Subhadra's son is Abhimanyu. So when they say Saubhadra, it actually means Abhimanyu. So Abhimanyu is another mighty warrior. Arjuna's son, you can obviously imagine kind of person that he is. So he is also part of the army that is taking part in this battlefield. And the very next word is easy to understand. If Saubhadra is the son of Subhadra, then Draupadi is son of Draupadi. So from Draupadi is married to each of the 5 Pandavas, and with each of them, she has sons. So all those 5 sons, the 5 sons of Draupadi and this son of Subhadra, all of them are great warriors, and they are also there standing in front of us. All Maharatha, great warriors. Maharatha is great warrior, great chariot fighters. Okay, because Ratha means chariot. It's good enough for you that we paraphrase that, these are just great warriors. So Yudha Manyuscha Vikrantaha Uttamaujascha Viryavan Saubhadro Draupadeyascha Sarva Eva Maharathaha. Okay, next verse. Okay, now he has, in the last 5 verses, he has enlisted all the warriors, the noted, the remarkable, the most popular warriors that are there on the Pandava side. Now he is going to start telling the warriors that are there who are fighting from on his side of the battlefield. So they are basically kind of equating strengths. He's trying to do that. So he says, Asmakam to vishishtaye tan nibodha dvijottama nayaka mama sainyasya sanyarthan tan bravimite. I'm not going to go through each of these Sanskrit terms, but I am going to paraphrase it. That this asmakam to vishishtaye tan niboda dvijottama. Dvijottama is twice born. It's called as the dvija. Dvi is two, and dvijottama here. Oh, best of the Brahmanas. There is some explanation behind this that is not relevant, at least in the kind of study we are doing. But he is basically addressing Drona. He's saying, okay, now asmakam tu vishishtaye tan niboda dvijottama. Now niboda, I will tell you. Obviously, Drona knows all this, but he's for the benefit of people like us, or when Sanjaya is going to tell Dhritarashtra, he gets an idea of the army. Nayaka mama sainyasva. Nayaka is the fighters, the great warriors, the champions on our side. Mama is mine. My sainya is my army. Sadnyartan tan bravime. Sadnyartan tan bravimite. Nayaka mama sainyasya. Sadnyartan tan bravimite. I will tell you now the warriors that are there on my side, in our side. So actually we are doing good on time. That's good. So I have 10-15 minutes. I think we should be able to cover a bit more. So what does he start with here? There is some people try to make some more out of this, that when he starts listing these warriors that are on his side, whose name should he say is the first important person that is with me? And maybe it is the case, maybe it's not, I don't know. But it looks like he must start with saying, Dronacharya, my guru, you are the first important person that I have on my side. That's why he starts with his name, Bhavan. You yourself, you the great warrior, you are Bhavan. Bhishma. So yourself, Bhavan. Bhishma is Bhishmacharya. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Krupascha Samitinjayaha Ashwatham. So Bhavan is Dronacharya. Bhishma, Karna. If you remember, we could go back to that tree. It's just that when flipping the screens, I don't want to lose this flow. But I had shown you that Karna and Bhishma, they are fighting the battle from the Kaurava side. So he is listing that. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha. Krupas is Krupacharya. Krupascha Samitin Jayaha. Ashwathama Vikarnascha. Saumadattis Tathaivacha. So that is a bunch of names that he is going to say now on the Kaurava side, which we did not have in our subset of the tree, because they don't matter, at least at the moment they won't. If one is interested, can go in, and once you understand the deeper current that is flowing, you will see that even those names make sense. But Ashwathama is a character that plays an important role far later in the Mahabharata. I don't know if we will be able to go that far, but Ashwathama is Dronacharya's son, and the story goes that he is immortal. He will not die, so he's deathless. That is the story. But he's kind of a somewhat disappointed character for a lot of time, and we'll see the significance behind that. So he is obviously a very good friend of Duryodhana. So he is, well, not obviously, but he happens to be. Since Dronacharya is on the side of Duryodhana, Ashwathama is also on his side. Ashwathama Vikarnascha Saumadattis Tathaivacha. Vikarna and Saumadatta is two other warriors that he mentioned in the list of names that are fighting on his side. Anye cha bahava shura. Anya is others. There are other warriors that are there who are equally, they are equal in strength, they are equal in warfare with most of the other Maharathis, the other warriors, great warriors that are there. Anye cha bahava shuraha madarthe tyakta jivitaha. There are warriors on my side who are of equal caliber to the other great warriors and generals that are there on my side, who are willing to give up their lives for my sake. Madarthe, for my sake. Tyakta, give up. Tyakta jivita, jiva is their life. Anye cha bhava shuraha, madarthe tyakta jivitaha, nana shastra praharanaha, sarve yuddha visharadaha. Nana is many others, several kind of shastra is weapons. Nana shastra praharanaha. So they are skilled in so many different kinds of weapons that are there. Sarve, all of them, yuddha visharadaha. Yuddha is battle. Vishar, they are expert in warfare. So I have got so many other generals and brave warriors on my side, skilled warriors who are ready to give up their life for my sake and who are skilled in the art of warfare. There are these kind of people that I have. So this two armies, he's giving a list of different people that are different warriors on both sides that are there who are partaking in the battle. Now, this particular slok that is there is some controversy in this, and different people interpret it in slightly different ways. Both ways, depending on the kind of perspective you want to harbor, they make sense. And I will try and go through just the first part of it, because we just have a few minutes left here for me to conclude this session. So it says, aparayaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma bhirakshitam. So what it says is that our army that is led by Bhishmacharya is insufficient. Here he has used the word insufficient. So, and another word here, unlimited. This army of ours protected by Bhishma is unlimited. And here it says defend by insufficient. So it's you can see right here that this is where the conflict is. So what is it? Is it unlimited or insufficient? What is it? So what it is depending on how you look at it. When this field, when this battle was, when it was decided that they are going to get into this war, they elect Bhishmacharya as the first general of the Kaurava army. And it was a wise selection, because for those who remember, Bhishmacharya had got this, it's called as Ichha Mrityu. He had got this ability, he had been given this boon where he was the one who could pick his time of death, which means he was invincible. Why would, supposing the battle was going to go on for, let's say, a month, and he said, you know, I'm not going to die for 1 month. I want to die in 1 year. So what do? If you have a general like that, you are certain, cannot die. What kind of morale your army has and what kind of morale the enemy has? The enemy is doomed, because if you have this kind of a warrior with you. But what happens is that when the rules for the war are laid down, Bhishma makes a statement which kind of stuns everybody. He says to Duryodhana, just like you are dear to me, the Pandavas too are dear to me. So I will accept this, the charge that you have given me to lead the charge as the general. But I have a condition. There are actually a bunch of conditions, but one of them is I will not kill the Pandavas. I'm not going to harm the Pandavas. So they are taken aback, the Kauravas. What kind of a general is this? He is saying, I will not kill the enemy. That's what he's saying. So this is one perspective. Because he has said that, Duryodhana finds that that could be one of the reasons where there is this bit of weakness that is there. The Pandavas know that he is not going to kill us, and so we can capitalize on that. So that's one perspective of looking at it. The other perspective is that the word aparyaptam, there is a grammatical controversy about this word. As such, paryapta is a pretty common word, which means sufficient. If you how much somebody asks you, how much do you make every month? What is your salary? And you will say paryapt, like enough. I make a decent living. I might not tell you the dollar amount. I make a sufficient decent living. So paryapta is sufficient for me. Aparyapt means not sufficient. So here it says aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma abhirakshitam. So my army this army depended by Bhishma is insufficient. One might interpret this to mean that this army is not as good as the Pandava army. We are not having as much strength, and obviously it means that we will not be able to fight well, and therefore if you look at it's not in the next verse, but in the next not in this verse, but in the next verse, he actually tells his soldiers protect Bhishma, which is another controversy. Why would somebody want to protect Bhishma? Bhishma is invincible. He doesn't need protection. He will protect everybody else. So these two verses, they are somewhat contradictory, and if you want to go with the flow, then the other meaning of aparyapta, which is there, which is also mentioned in here, is unlimited. It says that this army led by Bhishma is unlimited. So it says that one other meaning of this is that it is either unlimited or the opposing forces who want to capture this army, they are not that well equipped. Whatever the case, it just rationally, logically, it doesn't make sense for Duryodhana to say that I have got an army which is insufficient, given all the list of warriors he has said. So he is basically, we can take it, at least at this minute. We will see later on that there is quite a bit of explanation about why that might not be the case. But at this moment, let's take the case that Duryodhana is implying the meaning that this army led by Bhishma is undefeatable, is unlimited. Nobody can defeat it. Let's go with that meaning. So we are already above our time, and I think I will start with this word the next time that we meet. Thanks for listening to this session, and we'll conclude the session, and we'll meet next time. Thank you. Bye.